Hello scrappers and planet lovers, Tin Man here with another video. So today what I want to do is take a look at this large stand-up air conditioner unit. I actually found it in the ditch on my way to work. Not sure if it was thrown there intentionally or if it fell out of the back of a truck by accident. Either way, I was glad I spotted it, brought it home. It was heavily damaged, unfortunately. And I do also want to take the opportunity to answer another question in this video, which is how much copper recovery can I get from not only a unit like this, but also dehumidifiers. Dehumidifiers, as well as air conditioners, are common items I do find on garbage day. And I do want to take the opportunity to point out that before you go ahead and scrap them, check to see if they work. Especially a lot of new houses, new subdivisions, people will buy dehumidifiers to help soak up the moisture, have it running for a year and a half, and not know what to do with it after, and will leave it at the side of the road. I have actually resold a number of them, made a lot more money that way, as well as, being able to have people reuse them. I have donated some as well to Goodwill, which is another option, but they do have a lot of good scrap, and that's going to bring me to my second point. If you do scrap these, you do have to have a professional come in and flush the Freon or other gases inside of them. It is actually illegal to go ahead and cut the copper coils on these to release that gas on your own. So I do actually have a friend, I store them up. It is cheaper. I have had some people say, well, it's very expensive to do one, and I agree. If you have a number of them, you will get a better price for sure. And it does depend on where you are. Some places, some countries or provinces do offer incentives, recycling incentives. So this kind of thing, throwing them in the ditches, doesn't happen. This one, unfortunately, because of the heavy damage, maybe it was on impact, the copper coil actually was cracked. And sadly, that Freon did spill out into the ditch. So I actually when I opened up the panel, realized it was open, and I went ahead, I'm opening this right now because there is no more gas inside of that. So gonna look at this one. Very, very dirty, this one. It was old and very heavy. It weighed probably about 65 pounds, and that's because it has an excellent compressor inside. There's always a couple motors inside that are tin with copper coils, as other components as well. This one, unfortunately, is outer plastic. There are some, especially the older models, that are tin shelled. But notice the top of this one. This is pretty disgusting. Look at that dirt on here and gunk. Could be some tar, could have been a smoker. So something like this, as well as discolored. I don't resell these as well. Sometimes when you turn them on, it does have a very foul smell. So again, if it produces a smell like that, I don't resell it. But again, there are a lot that do work perfectly fine. So you're going to make a lot of more money from reselling them than scrap value. But again, this is plastic, dirty. And unfortunately here where I am, this is going to go into the garbage. Some places will take thicker plastic. So there may be parts of this I can throw into my recycling. The rest of it, unfortunately, is going to be garbage, like pieces like this. There are some of my viewers that say, especially out east, that they can actually bring plastic to their scrapyard and they will get paid per poundage for plastic. And that is an excellent government incentive and program. I wish Ontario did the same, because hopefully it would minimize the amount of garbage and plastic that went to the landfill. But again, it does depend on where you are. So great for those provinces out east. Again, I hope Ontario gets on board with that. But here's some waste. The nice thing about some of these pieces, though, like this one, because of the wheels on here, some of the wheels you do find do work. This one, all four of these actually do work, and they slide nicely. So I could reuse these. If not, if one of them was busted, or if they were broken in any way, you can see sometimes they are warped. This I can actually just throw right into my tin because of the tin on that wheel, and I will get some tin weight price for this. So again, scrapyards are not going to care too much about a little bit of plastic. So that's good that I can divert a little bit of it at least away from the landfill. Inside, they have two beautiful copper aluminum radiators, And these right now at a scrapyard are going for $2.10 a pound. And right here, I actually have 5 pounds and 8 ounces. I just weighed it, so 5.5 pounds here, which is great. Do want to turn this one, show you. Look at how dirty that one is, that grill is. So could have been a cause of the problem. You know, burned out the motor, not having enough ventilation in there or air circulation. But very dirty for sure, and a great price for these. However, I am going to make more money taking the copper off the top and the bottom. Very easy to do. If I show this one, you can see there is right here a tin plate. Put a magnet to it. So that is tin. Tin right now is going for about 10 to 14 cents a pound. These coils right here, because of the metallic look you see here, is going to be classified as number 2 copper. And currently that is going for $4.17 a pound. So all I actually do is take an angle grinder. I will go under the metal plate here, and I will cut off this coil. So the plate will pop off. These parts of the coils will cut off. And again, this is going to be upgraded, these pieces, to $4.17 a pound. And just to show you, here's a nice bin. There's 2.5 pounds here that I've gotten from other radiators I have. But notice this one, if I turn it over, this actually has other coils, and these ones do not have the metallic look to them. And that's because these are going to be number 1 copper. When I open them up, they are going to have a little bit of greasy, oily filament. Could be some of the gas still in them. And all I do is I will actually soak these in water soap solution, remove that, oily feeling. And this will be upgraded to number 1 copper. And currently, that is going for $4.42 a pound. So 23 cents more or 25 cents more for that. It does add up for sure. The rest of this, I do just throw it right into my copper aluminum radiator pile. I have done some experiments whereby I will try and take out the coil to see if it's worth more taking the copper or leaving it as the copper aluminum radiator. And I will include the video to that in my description below. But again, it does depend on you. But either way, make sure you get these pieces of coil on the top and the bottom because you're going to make more from those with copper. So 2 beautiful copper radiator coils. And this one you can see there are actually 3 levels of copper. So again, more copper on this one. It is thicker and heavier. But again, you do also want to make sure you take that tin off there so you don't get downgraded. So here we go. Beautiful copper aluminum radiators. Inside of it, there are 2 different types of wheels that we had here that come with 2 copper motors. I'm just going to actually cut this wire. There is also a ton of wire that runs in and out of this, but I am just going to open this one just to show you. Very easy to do. It just has a couple screws on it. Okay, these you do want to check. Copper motors like this are their own category at a scrapyard. They're about, what are they? Copper bearing motors right now, about 20 cents a pound. And they are a good value, but you do want to check to see if they are copper or aluminum inside. If they are copper, you will make more money taking the copper out of that and getting copper price. Okay, so just removing the last screw. These screws I always put into a bin. I have them on my table right now, usually a magnet close by. But these are also tin. So just going to open this, use a hammer. Okay, there it is. Just pull that out. Okay. And what I want to do inside here is I want to scratch these to see if they are copper or metallic underneath. If these are metallic, it means that the coils here are aluminum, and it's not worth my time taking out that coil. I leave it as just a tin price. I do have some of my scrapper friends, especially in the US, that say any type of aluminum coil like this or out of your transformers, they get about 80 cents a pound for those. So for them, definitely worth it. Here, unfortunately, I've called the scrapyard several different ones, and they said they only give us about 15 cents a pound for this dirty aluminum coil. So again, for me, wasting a grinder disc to cut that open, I might as well throw the entire thing into my tin pile and get the 14 cents a pound. So gonna check it. I do have a file here. Here we go, just gonna scratch. And as you can see right there, that is copper. So this is definitely worth opening up. I'm assuming that both of them are going to be copper. And all I'm going to do is take it out of this shell. It just pops out. There it is. And all I'm going to do is take a grinder. I'm going to grind down one side of this, and this whole shell will pop off. Then I'm going to put it into my vise, and I will punch downwards to take out the rest of these coils. I'm not going to do this entire one in this video because I do want to focus on another motor I have here, which is the same concept. But I do also have other videos showing you different types of copper bearing motors, as well as transformers, how to open them properly, safely, and quickly, and take out that copper. So again, those videos too, I will include in my the link in my description. But two beautiful copper bearing motors. And I will also include, once I do this, the final weight on the bottom as well, because that is all part of the copper. Some more tin. There is a circuit board that has some really nice goodies inside of it. A really nice copper transformer here that has some tin shell to it. It has a number of relay boxes here. These relay boxes do have a small spool of copper inside of it. Once you open one of these, it does look like that. Look at the small spool of copper. As well, you can see on that there is a small dot, circular dot, and on that dot there is a small speck. That small speck is actually silver. So I do cut those off, put them in a vial. It's free silver. If you take these relays off, another option is selling these whole. People will buy them if they are refurbishing circuit boards. It does depend on the type of scrapper you are or the type of recovery person you are. But again, some really nice relay boxes there, and there is a huge one right there that's going to have a lot of copper as well, and some silver. The other part of this that you see, a lot of wire. This wire here, you can see is one coating of plastic on it, and this is all going to be classified as 60% appliance wire, and is currently right now going for $2.40 a pound, or $2.56 a pound, sorry. So you do want to make sure you take that. And these brass prongs you see here, I am currently doing an experiment on these to see if I make more money from the brass here. Because of the plastic on here, you may get downgraded with plastic. So I do cut right below that brass. Scrap yards will take items like this. These are just brass connections with heavy plastic on them. In London, Ontario, 19 cents a pound for these. So I'm just collecting them right now. You can see on the bottom there are some with the plastic on it to see how many I have from this and if it's worth taking off. But again, there is some plastic on here and there is some heavy 60% appliance wire, which brings me as well to the outer wire. This is a common item that people will take, especially if they do not want to pay for someone to remove the gases on a dehumidifier or air conditioner. They will take the appliance wire. And this appliance wire as is actually got two categories. Right here, this part is going to be your 60%, and I would just actually cut right here. This is 60. The rest of this, the white coating, because it has an outer coating of plastic and these wires that run through it that are coated, this is your lower value copper wire. And currently, this is going as your 40% appliance wire, and it's $1.42 a pound. So it's still an excellent price, but you do want to separate the two. I have two different bags. It's easier to do as you go along. Don't wait till the night before to separate it all. I made that mistake, and it did take me several hours to do. But again, some great appliance wire here. It does have a huge head on it with the connector on it. I do want to cut this off because I want to open this up to see what's in it. And I will have an upcoming video for that. As well, some people do also remove the brass prongs, put them into the brass. This brass right here is going right now for about $3 a pound. I do take it off. I have a huge bucket of it. Want to see the difference in weight, especially myself. I'm looking long term. I have a huge bucket of them, and it does add up over time. And, you know, some, as I said, they don't have a lot of appliance wires, so they leave them on. But again, it does depend on you. But again, a great scrapper's cord here, appliance cord. There is also on the bottom another smaller motor. This is a lot like your motor from your vacuum cleaners that have the small fan. Inside of this box, there is another copper coil. It does have a couple screws that I have to remove. I have to remove this box, but again, another coil of copper here. Just gonna hit it with a hammer just to show you. Hopefully it breaks that. There you go. So inside there is some tape. I'm trying to find my knife. There's my knife. Just a second. I should have been ready with that knife. Here it is. There's a little bit of tape on this. Just going to cut that tape just to show you. Okay, sometimes there's a couple layers of tape, but there you go. Inside of it, look at that nice copper coil. So again, this is a lot like your vacuum cleaners. Some more copper in there. You do also want to scratch this. A lot of your new microwaves looks like bare bright copper or the nice shiny look, but upon scratching it, it does reveal the metallic look underneath. So you do want to check. This I'm going to be almost 100% because I just scratched it right now and it reveals the copper underneath. But again, you do want to do that scratch test. The final thing I do want to mention, there are a couple relay boxes as well as a small capacitor. This I just throw right into my capacitors. I give about 4 cents a pound as is. I have done an experiment to see if this outer aluminum is worth taking off and getting clean aluminum price. It is not. These are very messy for me and definitely very, very, very light. So it takes about 9 or 10 of these to even make 50 cents. So not worth it, but you can get 3 to 4 cents a pound for these capacitors. Okay, the compressor here is your awesome ticket item, as well as the copper coil that goes from the compressor to those radiators. So some really nice copper here, and there are 2 different parts of copper. You can see right here some really beautiful copper pipe. All of this right here is number 1 copper. There is a little bit of number 2 right here with the soldering. Unfortunately, I have seen some scrap yards, people bring this stuff in, will get number 2 price because they don't take the time just to put a little cut here and here, put this little small piece as number 2, and the rest of this is number 1. So make sure you upgrade that. You can actually separate that. And as I said, 52 cents a pound just from 2 little snips here, you know, separating that, it does all add up. This one, again, I am going to have to remove that plastic cover on it, but there is as well here some number 1 from here to here. This does have soldering, so this whole piece here is number 2. Once I remove the plastic off that too is going to be number 1. So a lot of number 1 here as well as some number 2, and I will weigh this at the end as well and put how much I have. The compressor here, this compressor was enormous. This actually weighs 25 pounds as is, and compressors, you can actually get compressor weight. They're going unopened for about 19 cents a pound, so 19 times 25 is a nice price, but these are an excellent source of scrap copper. And as you can see, I have already made the incisions on it. I always put it on some type of catch. I like egg cartons because they absorb some of the oil. I do open it up outside in like a frying pan so it does catch the oil. I allow it to just drain or sit on my fire pit just to allow the excess oil to drain off the coils. For this one, I have opened it already. I will put in the bottom a full breakdown of compressors. There are different types. There is this cylindrical one. There are more circular ones. And again, very easy to do. So again, I will put the links to both of those into my description. But there is also on the top here a little bit more copper that I want to get. Inside of this is my copper motor. But you do also want to check your arms. These arms, there is a little bit of copper still I have to get. But I have seen some of these just painted black and actually copper. This one, unfortunately, if I put a magnet to it, it is magnetic, sorry. So this one is magnetic, but I have had about 3 of them that are copper. So again, magnet test for sure. If it is non-magnetic, if you scratched it, it would reveal the copper underneath. This one, obviously, you could see is magnetic as well as metallic. but do make sure you get that little bit of copper off as well. Inside of here, as I said, this is a beautiful copper bearing motor. The rest of this, I'm actually just going to throw into my tin. There is a little bit of cast aluminum on here, but not worth my time. So either way, I'm still getting for the rest of this 19 cents a pound. As well, once I take out this copper, the rest of this shell is also going to be tin. So great item here for sure. Again, all I'm going to do just very quickly, just to show you a quick start. I also always have a box here. When I am grinding, it does produce some copper, and this just catches it. So all I'm going to do again, as I said, just about with both of these, I'll even do this one because it's just as easy. But just going to go down the side of it, and I will pull this whole thing off. So here we go. So notice inside of that, look at that beautiful, beautiful copper. I have here my excess copper that's in here, so all I do is just dump that, so I don't want to waste any. The rest of this, just going to put it right into my vise. Okay, and the nice thing about when you have compressors, that oil acts as a lubricant, so it's easy to get these coils out, but an excellent, excellent source of copper for sure. Just going to grab a punch, or style of punch, there we go, and a hammer, and I'm just going to punch these coils out. Okay, very simple to do. Once I get them going, go from different sides of it. Okay, and I can go all the way for sure. Okay, and I would do that all the way down. You can see that they are starting to come out. I'm obviously just going to pop it out, keep going that way, and then all I have to do is turn it over, use leverage. Okay, so I'll show you this. Hopefully they're out. They might need a little bit more, but we'll see. Where is my plier? Just grab it. Hopefully this is going to work. I might peel it. There you go. So, there you go. There's part of it. Turn it around. Some great copper. So, using leverage, different components here. Make sure you have a catch basin. But again, dehumidifiers, stand-up air conditioners, as well as your window air conditioners, an excellent source of tin, an amazing source of copper, some other great items in here as well. But again, make sure you use proper precaution. Make sure you get a professional in to flush these properly. Please, hopefully we don't see these in the ditch anymore. But again, I'm glad I was able to recover that. I do also want to mention, last thing, I have had some of my viewers, especially in the States, say that unfortunately they can only, because they are HVAC technicians, they will only be the ones that are able to bring these into into scrap yards. It does depend on where you are, but luckily here in southwestern Ontario, I can still bring these in. So it is amazing to hear different feedback, rules, comments from my viewers from all over the world. And again, I look forward to sharing with all of you some of my expertise, or I call it expertise, but again, I have also been given lots of different tips and tricks from my viewers. So love the community working together to help reduce the amount of waste going to landfills, as well as helping people identify the material, separate it properly, and maximize their profits. So hope you enjoyed that. Please comment down below, like, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Tin Man out.